Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is Elvira. I'm a medical intuitive and naturopath and a healer, yoga teacher, and I just wanted to continue on the last message that I had on another video, which was about the V word and V shedding. I'm going to say the V word for this whole video, okay? So I made some important points, and I just want to kind of elaborate a little bit. So there is something going on in terms of spreading this kind of information, and it's basically about the non-V people interacting with the V people and what that does to the health of the non-V people. Okay, so I wanted to really just bring forward some extra information. And remember that the main theme from the first video I posted was vibration is everything, and your vibration basically defines your reality, and your belief system creates your vibration, which defines your reality. So here is what I understood after that video a little bit more, based on some comments, and yes, based on comments. So it seems as if there are some people possibly experiencing weird physical reactions without actually knowing that they are around somebody who has the V. And the reason I want to address this because I think there's multiple explanations for that. One could be that whatever science is there, and I know there's some kind of a science behind it, perhaps it's real, okay? And I'm not here to say that it's not real. I'm not someone who reads or looks at science necessarily. I am someone who reads energy, and I detect vibrational things, and I understand things in that way, even though I've been trained in a very scientific profession. I would rather look into the vibrations of everything and understand things at a different level so that we can all calm down. Okay, so the purpose of this video is to genuinely help everybody just remember that there's a lot more going on than meets the eye, and to not be in fear all the time. So here is what I believe may be going on, and these are possibilities. These are truths, and you don't have to necessarily accept them as your truths, but hopefully it maybe gives you something to think about, so you can take it or leave it. The first thing I think is going on when somebody who doesn't know, who doesn't have the V, is around someone who does, and then they get symptoms and they find out later that they were around that person. Okay, so here's one theory, one way to look at it. So there's a possibility that the person who got affected has been, in a few ways, extremely sensitive their whole life to vibration, as well as from day one of the entire event of this, past year series of events. They've been very resistant and very angry and very opposed to a lot of it. And so that combination right there of a very sensitive person who has what Chinese medicine would call kind of like a compromised Wei Qi, which is your like defensive energy against everything, psychic like thoughts and chemicals, and like really sensitive to chemicals, sensitive, like smells and things like that. Okay, so somebody who has a very strong sensitivity in general, and possibly in addition on top of that, they are already very opposed to a lot of the occurrences of this year. And then they are around somebody who has that vibration of the opposite of what they believe in. There is a high chance that that particular kind of person will take on or somehow manifest symptoms that are not really theirs. And I don't think this is something to be feared. I think it's just something that can be healed. And I'm not saying that anybody has come to me with this issue at this point, but I don't see why it cannot be healed if you are manifesting these kinds of things in your body because of previous trauma of some kind or oversensitivity. Here's an example. Someone who, I don't know, at the age of 60 develops some kind of skin condition, and we can't correlate it to anything, right? So when I tune into people, then I see something happened at 5 years old. And what's the chance that that 5-year-old event manifests 55 years later? It seems like impossible, right? But I'm telling you right now, it happens all the time, because when you're carrying a vibration, sometimes there's an external trigger and it'll start coming through and manifesting in the body. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of give that example because I think it's a very high possibility of that. And then there could be people who don't have the V. They're around someone with the V and they're neutral and they're not, thinking about it, and nothing's really bothering them, and they're just going with the flow of everything. And maybe they get some reaction. I don't know, but I have a feeling that more likely is a person who's being affected is already very much highly sensitive and already opposed and resisting and upset about all of it. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it, now this is something that I gathered as well, and I wanted to share because it didn't come through as my idea, but I wanted to add because I felt like it might be valuable. So another way to look at it is the people getting the V. You can look at everything as contracts. Like, there's certain souls that signed up for this, and there's certain souls that signed up for that. This person's going to go this, and this person's going to go that. Like, it's, if you look at it that way, you can see it in a more neutral way that there is no good or bad. Everyone is doing their thing, and that's just what's supposed to happen. Okay. But what might also be a contract is somebody who gets the V and then someone who they know who hasn't gotten it is somehow helping them by taking on some of it subconsciously, taking on some of the damage. Now, who the hell wants that? I know nobody really wants that. You can't, here's the thing, you can't control it necessarily. You can't just stay away from everybody who you don't want to get affected by. But this could be something at a soul level. There could be something there that maybe part of your reason for being around that person and in taking on these things is to help them perhaps in some way not get as much damage from that. So it's like spreading out a little bit. This is not my idea. I'm just sharing something I heard that, yes, could be. It could be. So that is another thing to think about. And if you can just really realize that you don't have much control. However, you can control and heal your sensitivities. You can increase your Wei Qi. You can increase your level of ability to basically come across anything and know that you can strengthen yourself so much that it doesn't have to affect you. Now, if it's this other thing, which is the contract thing, I don't really know if you can stop that. Okay, that's a whole other story. And it might be something you just have to release control of. Like, you cannot control everything, and whoever you come across, you cannot control how you're going to react, but you can take some control if it's more about your sensitivity, your trauma, and your outlook and your perception and your belief system. Okay. And then we can kind of relate that back to your belief system creates your reality. Okay. And so some of it is conscious, some of it is subconscious. So it's the subconscious ones that are, made me think about making this video. It's like, subconsciously, why are they taking it on when they don't even know that that person has it? So that's where I came in and said, maybe there is something else going on there. Okay. All right. So next point is you cannot avoid 80%, maybe 90. I don't know how much percentage of the planet is getting the V. But you cannot avoid everybody. You can't. It's just impossible unless you want to live in a cave like a hermit. Maybe some people do, but I don't feel that living in fear is in any way healthy. In fact, it could do more damage than than being around somebody who has the V. Okay? So living in fear is actually so damaging. Like, and I'm not talking about healthy fear here. There's a level of fear that's healthy. Like, you're crossing a street, don't get hit by the car, stay away from the car, wait till there's no cars, then cross the street. Okay? That's a healthy level of fear. But if you are in fear of being in front of somebody, if you are in fear of going out, doing things, and that is not helping your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual state. Okay? So the unhealthy fear gets stuck in the body and it creates dis-ease. Okay? Dis-ease in the body, meaning it can manifest physically, therefore can create symptoms that you have no idea of what the heck is going on until you maybe tune in, see an intuitive healer. That's what I do. And I tune in to why people have symptoms in the first place, which is usually a lot of unresolved or miscommunication in the body, unresolved trauma, whatever, right? So yes. And another thing I want to bring up that I realized is, and I kind of knew this, but it's good that I was kind of reminded of this too. And I just want to make it clear. So in the last video, I said like, okay, this whole thing is another thing that creates division. Like, oh, I don't want to be around that person. I'm going to stay away from these people and all that. But what I want to really make clear as well is that there is a plan, and the division that is occurring is part of this bigger plan. Okay. So there are people like me who are saying, hey, how about we don't like create all this divide amongst each other and not do that? That's bad, right? So that's another level of trying to control the situation. And so my last video, I was trying to help everybody to say, hey, let's not do that. But at the same time, I can't really say, hey, don't do that, when maybe it's part of the flow of what is supposed to happen anyways. Okay. So there is a level of like surrender that has to come in. And if you see this destruction around you and this, division and people fighting over this and fighting over that and which V is better, even today I'm listening to someone who's like, they're arguing with their own family about which V is better. Like, what? Right? We're creating division over everything. And at the same time as like, I don't agree with that, I also feel there is a level of perhaps this is just the way it needs to go. Why? Because there's a bigger plan and a bigger outcome. And when there's this division going on, there is also an awakening going on, because then people start to realize, oh, wait, like, so we need the destruction in order to realize that that we are doing something that we don't need to do. And it starts to awaken more and more people. I think that is part of the plan. Like, the more people who get issues after the V, okay, the more people who, I don't know, just have really severe reactions to it. They are kind of like sacrifices for others to wake up and to realize, hey, maybe there is something going on that we haven't been told, although they are told, but they don't want to hear it, possibly that too, right? So if you can see the whole thing as a blessing in disguise, which it very, very much is, it's easier to live through it and just accept and just understand and just go with the flow. And, yes, you might need some help to build yourself, to resist, to not get affected by all the things that are happening around you. But because I'm trying to bring through this understanding, even hearing this alone, this information can definitely help just calm you down so you don't live in that fear, okay? You don't have control over everything. You can control your health and your energy, and you can basically heal all that. And there's even a chance you can reverse some of whatever you took on from somebody, okay? So it's just like anything. It's like taking on a negative thought. It's like taking on a negative vibration from somebody. If you take it on, it can affect you just like any other thing, right? So it's definitely reversible, and I don't feel it's worth it to live in that kind of fear. All right. So I hope this has helped some of you. And, a lot of it is kind of like take it or leave it. You may not agree. You may agree fully, and you may be like, that's amazing. That's great to know. Good to hear. Right. So if you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And thank you for tuning in. Much love to all of you. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.